Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome to another problem solving video, and today we're gonna solve a problem called cells by match from HackerRank, and this problem comes under the algorithm section. So let's move to the problem description. Here we have a large pile of socks and that must be paired by color, and the pile of socks is represented by an array and each element in the array represents a color. So in our example here, we have an array with 7 elements, n equal to 7 elements, and we have 1, 2, and 3 as individual elements. We have 3 ones here. That makes one pair of 1 and then 1 remaining. And we have 3 twos. That means one pair of 2 and 1 2 remaining. And we have only 1 3 here. So that doesn't make any pair. So at the end, the number of pairs we have in our array is 2. One pair of ones and one pair of twos. So there are 3 odd socks left, one of each color. So that's the problem we need to solve. We need to count the pairs, like how many pairs we can make from our array. So let's go to the problem. There is a very common way to solve this kind of problems. To count the frequencies of each individual element in our array, we can take an object. So this is our counter object, and initially this object is empty. Now to count the number of pairs, let's take a variable called number of pairs, and initially we will have no pairs. Let's take a for loop, and the for loop will run n times, which is the length of our array. We will take each element of the array as keys, and we will check if that key exists yet in our object, counter object. So we are checking here using the ternary operator if this key already exists in our object or not. If this key does not exist yet, we will assign this key 1 as value for the first time. And if this key already exists, that means it already has 1 or some value, will increase its value by 1. So for the first time when the loop runs, then I equal to 0, and it will take the first element of the array and it will assign this first element as a key to our counter object. And then using the ternary operator, we will check if this key already exists or not. So for the first time, it will be false, and as it will be false, in this newly assigned key, 1 will be assigned as value. And then the next time when we will have the next item is the same element as before, our ternary operator will return true. That means we already have this key in our counter object. So this time we will increase the value of this key by 1. So when this loop finishes running, we will have all the individual elements of our array as key in our counter object and their frequencies as value. So now we have all the elements individually as keys and their frequencies as value. So now what we will do, we will take the keys using the Object.key method. We will take all the keys of the counter object. So this will return us an array of keys or a list of keys. Next, we will take another for loop, and this loop will run keys.length times. And in this loop, we will have each key value from our object. So we have keys and I. So this will return us the first key, and using the first key, we will have the first key's value from our object, and we will divide it by 2. to get the number of pairs. So for example, if we have 5 and if we divide it by 2, we will get 2.5, and that's not what we want. We want a whole number. So we will floor the number. We'll use math.floor method. So now we are dividing each frequency by 2 to get the number of pairs that we have in that particular frequency of that element. And we are adding that to our number of pairs. So when this loop finishes, we'll have all the numbers of pairs that we have in each key's value. And then finally, there is one thing left to do, and which is to return the number of pairs. So let's run the code now. So we're running our code. Let's see what happens. And we got congratulated. Our sample test case 0 and sample test case 1 are successfully satisfied. So let's submit the code and see what happens. So running all the test cases now, and we can see that our solution satisfies all the tests cases. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.